Nicole here, and I'm here with my dear sister, Joy. Hi, Joy.
Hi.
So Joy teaches, she's an incredible teacher and medicine woman. And one thing that I just wanted to highlight today is that she teaches yoga and recovery as well. So not only is she a dear friend and yoga teacher, she's also a sister in sobriety. And I just wanted to bring her on and have a little talk about recovery and yoga and all those things.
Yeah, so good to be here. Yoga and recovery changed my life, The foundation of my practice really of having recovery led me to realizing that there was something more. You can go through the steps and all that stuff and you can get support. But I needed some deeper support really to allow me to come back to that wholeness. So yoga was the bridge. And it's been a journey and I wouldn't change it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
We're lucky.
Totally.
Yeah. So, I say often that for me, yoga and meditation is so much less about self-help and transformation as kind of a byproduct, but it's more about getting to know ourselves, like creating a relationship with ourselves. Because whenever we're in addiction, it's like complete disconnection. We just are getting completely disconnected from ourselves. So it's like coming back home. And whether that's drugs or alcohol or sex or food or whatever, there's a zillion different ways that we can distract ourselves from life and distract ourselves from the present moment. But it's about coming home, and that's really what I found on my mat. Is that coming home? I love that. But I wanted us to talk today. I've had some people ask and some questions lately about cravings. So what to do with cravings whenever they occur, whether it's whatever it is. So the cravings are broad, just as addictions are. And so there's one thing for us to have a resolve. We want to do something different. Like, I want to do something different. And it's like, then how do we know what we should do, but what happens whenever it's that everything begins to come up and the temptation and the need and the desire, where can we be resolute? How can we be steadfast? Different things. Did you have a lot of cravings whenever you?
Well, what's coming up is the craving is immediately, that the dopamine hit, you got to talk about how it just immediately you want that hit because you don't feel comfortable with being uncomfortable or don't feel comfortable with being fully present and yourself. So my journey, really what I had to do was I had a sponsor and she was like, look, you've got to replace that with something else. And so what I did was I started running. That was my thing. I was like, all right, I'm going to find ways that I can just, because you make space for all this time that's created, because all that space you're finding the drugs, alcohol, whatever, and you're doing that. That's like my whole mental plane was all about where I was going to get it, who I was going to do it with, how long I was going to drink,
I also, how not to smell like it, how not to let anybody know that I'm drunk, how much is left for the morning, what time does this door open? Yeah. Like, seriously, 2,000% of my energy.
And so after you get sober, you have all this space, and that's when the detoxification and the patterning comes, and you get to feel what can I do that's positive? And even my sponsor was like, if you need to eat cake, do it. Eat as much cake as you want. Just don't drink. Yeah. Just don't drink. Don't pick up that one drink, because one drink leads to 10 every time. And so with that craving, I have a beautiful little toolkit. You want the toolkit. You got to formulate your toolkit. If you don't have a toolkit, then you'll be fucked. You've got to find ways that really help you nourish you, like back to your home, like you talk about that home. And for me, it's like, it's a check-in. What am I eating? How am I sleeping? Am I connecting? It's all about connection, right? Like you always talk about that. And we need each other. We can't do this alone. So are you connecting with your tribe of soul that is like mine, that is sober and that can positively benefit you? And so eating cake, formulating something that helps you stay abstinent. So whether it's eat cake, running, yoga, I mean, to be honest, yeah, like exercise was my muse at the time.
And one thing that's really good about exercise, so like on a chemical level, is that whenever we are using what it is, whenever we're say that we're a workaholic, all of our notifications or a social media thing, those notifications produce dopamine, a chemical called dopamine in our brain that is makes us it's excitement. And so sex, all of these things, they're dopamine producing. So different ways that we can produce the dopamine and the endorphins is also through exercise. So that's a a more healthy replacement, but you can also get addicted to exercise. So it's just interesting. It's the intention behind, and
or even like with me smoking, or drinks, I had to have something physically. Like you can replace it with orange juice. And just start small. Mm-hmm. Cigarettes, I use carrots. Like things like that just kind of made you feel a little bit safer to not pick up. And
we've created so much of a pattern that it's something that so if we need something outside of ourselves, say it's drugs or alcohol, then you actually will need to replace it with like a drink, some type of drink. I still drink kombucha in wine glasses. I do. Everyone's always like, what?
That's, on the edge. Some people don't have that much capability and strength to be able to, because for me, in the beginning of my sobriety, if I did that, it would deeply trigger immediately, and I would want that drink. I loved wine, and so it just takes that's why I say the tools, like what works for you, what works for you. It's all about like formulating your whole life. Like you get to now decide, like you talk about, get to know yourself so deeply that no one else, needs to tell you what to do. You get to formulate this newfound relationship and say, this is really serving me to help me feel the most amazing,
Yeah.
So
I think it's really good to kind of reverse engineer as well. So there's something called Shinpa that I've talked about. And it means like the hook, like you get hooked. So thinking about when you most often get triggered, the most times you often like crave. So this might be when you get off work or before you go to bed, or for me, it was when I wake up in the morning, like when I do anything. So, but figuring out when these certain times are, maybe you're sad is the thing, or you're lonely, or you're angry, or you're excited, whatever it is. Let's like figure out when it is that you most likely feel these things and be prepared for them. You don't want to be on the spot and then be like, okay, what should I do? And that's not the time to be planning. So we want to be proactive and pre-plan a bit. But so with Shinpa, Shinpa happens right before the thing that we always do. So there's an habitual cycle, like this happens and then this happens. You do this and then I do this. You say that, I get angry. You do, or like I get off work, I'm going to drink. It's like the thing, it's the hook right before something happens. So it's figuring out what is prior to that. So you get a chance to respond whenever you feel that hooked. You can respond the way you've always responded. But what do you do when you don't do the thing that you always do? Like, what are the other options? And this is what I think it's so good that we have yoga and meditation, that we begin to create space through that practice. We begin to watch and listen, because normally we would just get the trigger would happen and then we would just be off to the races. And then you're like, how did I get here again? Like, I'm drunk again, or I'm angry again, or now we're having this same fight. So when you can create that space prior, you're like, okay, this is about to happen. I still do this all the time in my life, just going through my own habitual patterns. Oh, this is coming up again. Now I have a space to respond rather than react. And for me, that is where the yoga and the meditation, like, wow, having to stop in uncomfortability and watching. So that is part of where my practice helps my cravings, is being able to create that space in between.
And, I have to say, though, with the craving, too, is you're missing out something outside of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You're missing yourself. And so invitation is to find out what that is. Find out, what are you missing? Are you missing connection physically, mentally, emotionally? Are you missing, being able to just like completely love yourself fully and give the gift of touch?
Mm-hmm.
Or for me, most times it's that I'm missing letting myself actually receive deep peace, because I'm a go-getter and I like to have things all the time happening. And when that isn't happening,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, whoa, actually
Must be something wrong.
yeah, must be something wrong, which is not really not true. So it's just, I'm missing being able to be receptive of deep relax, like real relaxation.
Yeah.
And just truly being present fully and enjoying the waves, and not trying to grasp or hold on to anything that is occurring. So
yeah, we were talking about this earlier, and we're similar. We're very similar in that way. And I was the same in my addiction. It's like always excitement, always party, always things, always things. I always had people around me. I was never alone. I didn't want that quiet, that anything that, and even now if I go into like an introverted phase, I'm so not used to it. And I'm like, what is this? I even called one of my friends one time and I was like, is this what it's like to be an introvert?
Yes.
And she was like, yeah. I go, am I going to be like this forever? She goes, no, you're definitely one of the most social people I know.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. It's just, where are you uncomfortable?
Yeah.
And normally that's where the triggers pop up, is where this uncomfortability lives. Yeah. So when things get edgy, when things get shaky, and they're different for everyone, that is often where we want to reach for something else. There's a couple things that I've heard that are really interesting. I listen to Dharma Punk's NYC a lot, and I've been sharing this. And one thing that he says is that I thought was really interesting is that addiction is a replacement for connection.
Right.
And this can be with another person and with ourselves as well, is that we are species that we co-regulate. Like, I need to be able to process my emotions. She has mirror neurons actually in her face that she's listening to me, that she's hearing me, that like my subconscious is even noticing, to be like, I'm feeling seen and feeling heard. And that is like this connection, this bond. Our species, we do so well because we bond. Our ability to, she's laughing at me because I'm a nerd. Our ability to bond and co-regulate. And from this co-regulation, we learn to auto-regulate as well. And it's like, how can I connect with myself? Like she was saying, like, what do I need? How can I give this to myself? So it's finding then also tools to do that. Yeah. So I'm a reader.
Yep.
Journaling, bath taker extraordinaire. Finding different ways to ease and to regulate ourselves.
My thing is, take yourself on dates. Be the beloved within, like find out who you want. Who do you want to be? Who do you want to connect with? And be that for yourself. Yeah. I was talking to this to a client, like, you can't receive what you really want unless you actually access that. If you have a value of whatever it may be, how are you actually showing up? What's your integrity like? And so that's an ongoing journey to kind of keep checking in. And, just an example, like I started giving myself massage as a single, beautiful woman, that I was just like, you know what? I'm not waiting, stop waiting for something else to give you the gift of ecstasy. Like, fuck it. No, give yourself what you want. We
can't cuss on YouTube. We'll bleep it out. It's fine.
Okay. So give the gift of what you need, that ecstasy, that bliss, whatever. And so I started giving myself self-massage just to try it out, like really giving myself a sensual, loving massage. And this is what I really crave in a partnership. And sure enough, I meet someone, he's like, I love massage. I mean, it's simple but true. Like, it's just a reflection, man. Like, how are you showing up for yourself? And that's the radical self-love that we need as being sober, because we didn't think that we could be that happy, you know, that free. And you can, and it's available. It's just a choice every moment, every breath.
Yeah. And sometimes it feels excruciatingly painful and hard, but, you know, our addiction was hard. So we can do hard things. So I guess just for a recap and to name some practical things. One thing that really helped me is that, you know, I mentioned I didn't initially still drink out of wine glasses. That's something that I do now. I drink out of wine glasses
it takes
now.
time. It's like, you know, just don't do it right away.
And
just give yourself time to just get away from all those other habits that, you know, and then of course with emotional maturity, you can do whatever the hell you want, really, in a way that just gives you, because you're coming from a place where you're not triggered and you're not, you don't have this anxiety anymore because you know yourself and you can do things, you know.
And for me, carbonated beverages really, really helped.
Yeah.
Sparkling waters. I don't know why. I don't know if it was actually the way that it feel, or that like bubbles feel fancy. But, you know, I didn't want to like quit drinking and just drink water all the time. Like there's something.
No, I'm
not saying anything bad about water.
Like, there's certain things that you can drink that really help you have that, like. Yeah,
and there's so many mocktails, and I remember when someone told me there's so many amazing mocktails. I was like, oh my god, my life! Like thinking it was so dorky, but like here in Ubud, like nobody really drinks here. It's incredible. This is a good place to be sober. There's so like passion fruit and soda water and mint, and they'll put it in a coconut, and like there's just all of, you know, there's so many other ways to go about it. You can still be fancy. And then really, really mapping out the craving pattern, the craving map in your body. Like when this happens, this is how I feel. So when you feel the next craving, maybe you stop, maybe you write it down. Like my chest feels like this, or this is where I feel it in my body. Like I feel it in my throat, or I feel it in my heart, or I feel a tightness in my belly, whatever it is, and kind of imprint it. So you begin to map out what's going on. Deep breaths, knowing that the exhale, especially emphasizing an exhale, is stimulating the parasympathetic system. That is the rest, relax. Because when you're in crave mode, it's all sympathetic. You're like on fight or flight. And so it's really finding ways to ease that. And audibly exhale.
Yeah, and yin yoga will help you reestablish that GABA, that neurotransmitter that actually helps you become less, you know, anxiety or having that fight or flight. And what I was gonna say too is that if to map it out, like I loved, you know, getting a drink right after work. It was very clear. I worked hard, so I deserve a drink.
Yeah.
And then I started going, okay, well, what did I do is I you know, had chocolate cake or whatever, but you have to map it out. You really do. It's so essential, or else you're completely like just trying to navigate it and not finding that solution and anchor a new one in.
Right. It's just creating the new patternings, and it takes a while, but it begins to be
compassion and love and empathy for different. Yourself, not trying to like make something happen right away, just slowly but surely. That's why they say one day at a time, because it's like we can't do this right away. Like it's don't let go of the instant gratification and come into deep grace,
love and
compassion for yourself, where you're at, and just go, this is where I'm at. How can I support myself right in this moment? Not tomorrow, not last week, not months from now. Like, what do I need to do right in this moment that can really help me to grow and to be more free? So and call a friend. You know,
definitely reaching out for support.
Called this one before where I've just been in, you know, tears, being like, oh my gosh, I just need to be held. And it's so key to have that around, to have those people that understand you, want to support you, and just, that tribe. So.
Yeah.
I love
And
you.
one thing that I want to say, I love you too. One thing I want to say that you reminded me whenever you said you get off work and you just like, I deserve it. I was the same way. I deserved it when I did anything. I deserved it. I deserved it. But one thing that we need to switch in our brain is that we put like alcohol and drugs or whatever it is as a treat, like as it's something that like is like this, it's put up on a pedestal. Like, no, what you actually deserve is to have a healthy body. And what you deserve is not to put a toxin in your body. Like, it's not something that when we get sober, then all of a sudden we don't get this treat anymore. Like, we need to rearrange the way that we see the treat. I mean, the treat is to be able to be nourishing and wholesome to our body. And like, that is a treat. And that's what we deserve. That's all. I'm going to get up on my little soapbox.
I mean, that's why I say, why wait? Why wait to live a life beyond your wildest dreams?
Yeah.
It's here, available. It's at any moment. And to get comfortable with loving life so fully. I mean, I know that for myself and for you, you know, as an entrepreneur, you know, at least I know over the years I've realized, yes, you can live this free. You can live having, you know, a life beyond your wildest dreams with different passions and purpose and driven towards living in paradise and doing what we love, but still accessing living free. So it's just a matter of that, you, like you said, the mental concept and just changing the story, like truly changing your story around that deserving, because there's no such thing as deserving. We all are, we have the innate ability. We are capable. It's our birthright to live in joy and bliss and harmony with all things. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you all for joining us. Please leave your comments and questions and your tips as well in the comments so other people can access them. And yeah, the more that we, you know, kind of do this out loud and do it together, the better and the stronger, and the more courage that it is accessible to everyone. So recover out loud.
I love that.
Love you. All right. Thank you all. Peace. Thank you so much, Joy.